Hello friends, welcome to the new session. We are starting with a playlist which will contain all the lectures related to machine learning. So today we are starting with the first lecture, that is we are having an introduction to machine learning. Right? So machine learning basically is nothing but, as the name suggests, we want to make machine learn by themselves, the way human beings learn from their experience. Same way we want machines to learn from the past data, what will be giving it as an input, and we want machines to learn from it. Fine. So let us start with this new lecture series on machine learning. Now, so machine learning is nothing but it's a subset of an artificial intelligence, that is AI, where the machine is trained to learn from its past experience. The past experience is developed through the data collected, which is nothing but the input here. So this experience is combined with algorithms to make future predictions. The performance of such a system should be at least at human level, because you want the machine to think and learn like how human beings learn from the experiences. So the performance of the model what we train should be as per the human level. Fine. Now, before we start with the machine learning, let us look at our traditional programming, the difference between our traditional programming and machine learning. In traditional programming, what we have input and program, which is fed to the system, and you get the output, right? So here you give the input, you give the algorithm, and you get the output. But in case of machine learning, it is other way around. You give the input as well as you give the expected output, what you want. Computer will come up with the program which will give you the expected output, right? So here what is the difference here? You are not giving the program, right? You are just giving what input you have and what you expect as output, and machine learns itself and comes up with a program which will give the expected output, right? So this is what we are talking about today, is machine learning. Fine. Now, what are the key elements of machine learning? Right? Every machine learning algorithm has three components: representation, evaluation, and optimization. Now, representation is what? How to represent knowledge. The examples include decision trees, support vector machines, set of rules, neural networks, graphical models, model ensembles, etc. Right? We will look at all these representations as we go ahead in this lecture series. Next component, what we have is evaluation. So evaluation is the way to evaluate candidate programs, maybe the hypothesis. So the examples here include accuracy, squared error, prediction and recall, likelihood, cost, margin, entropy divergence, etc. Right? So once the model is ready, you evaluate how well the model is trained, right? The next component, what you have is the optimization. So optimization is the way candidate programs are generated, known as the search process. For example, you have combinatorial optimization, you have convex optimization, you have constraint optimization, etc. So all machine learning algorithms are combination of these three components, that is representation, evaluation, and optimization. Fine. Now, what are the steps involved in machine learning? Right? So these are the 5 steps what I put. As you go ahead, we'll see all the steps in detail. The very first machine learning task is collecting data, right? It may be the raw data, right? Like from Excel, Access, etc. Right? This step forms the foundation for future learning, right? This is a basic step for future learning in case of machine learning. The better the variety, density, and volume relevant data, better is the learning prospects for the machine becomes, right? Now, so collecting data, what is important is the quality and the density and the volume of the data, the variety of the data. Fine. Preparing the data is the next step. Now, one need to spend time determining the quality of the data and then taking steps for fixing issues such as missing data and treatment of outliers. So here, in fact, you make data ready to be fed into your machine learning algorithm. Next, what you have is training a model. Now, this step involves choosing the appropriate algorithm and representation of data in the form of the model. Next, you have evaluating the model. To test the accuracy, right, we go for evaluating the model. So this step determines the precision in the choice of the algorithm based on the outcome. A better test is to check accuracy of model, is to see its performance on data which was not used at all during our model training. Right? The last step what we have is improving the performance. Right? So this step might involve choosing a different model altogether or introducing more variables to augment the efficiency. Right? So that's why significant amount of time needs to be spent in data collection and preparation so that we don't have to go on the last step, that is improving the performance. Fine. Now let us look at all these steps in detail one by one. The very first and the basic or the fundamental step of machine learning is data collection. This step is very important because the quality and the quantity of data that we gather will directly determine how good our predictive model can be. Right? So data is collected from different sources. The type of data collected depends upon the type of desired project, the project on which we are working on. Now, data may be collected from various sources such as databases, or it may be the raw data from Excel sheet, from Access data set, or it may be the simple text files. Data may be collected in any form. The quality and the quantity of gathered data directly affects the accuracy of the model. Remember, garbage in, you have garbage out. So quality and quantity of data makes lots of, is very important in case of machine learning. Because using this data, you're going to train your machine. The better the variety, density, and volume of relevant data, better is the learning prospects for the machine. Now, why we concentrate so much on data collection? A simple example, like we all collect student feedback from our student after the lecture, after the semester, right? So what we do, we collect the student feedback, and most of the suppose we have collected the student feedback, and now we are using this feedback data to train our model. But most of the feedbacks what we have collected are positive and very few are negative. The model now using this data will be biased towards guessing that virtually everything that it sees is a positive feedback, since it would be right most of the time because most of the data what it is used for training is positive feedback. But however, in the real world, the model may see positive and negative feedbacks in equal amount, which will mean that guessing positive would be wrong half of the time. Why? Because it is trained to see most of the feedbacks as positive. And if you give very few negative to train it, so even if the feedback is negative, because it has been trained with lots of positive data, it will classify it as positive feedback, right? So your machine will not work. Fine. So data, quality, quantity, and but diversity is very important. Next, what we have is data preparation, which includes cleaning, preparing, and manipulating the data. Now, data preparation is done to clean the raw data. Fine. So data collected from real world is transformed to a clean data set. Raw data may contain missing values, inconsistent values, duplicate instances, etc. Right? So what we need? So you cannot directly use the raw data for building a model. So you need to apply methods of cleaning and cleaning the data set. And so these methods may be in the form of adjustments and manipulations, like ignoring the missing values, removing the instances having missing values from the data set, estimating the missing values of instances using mean, median, or mode statistical methods, removing duplicate instances from the data set, normalizing the data in the data set, and giving treatment to the outliers. Outliers are something which are really irrelevant and which are part of your data set. Right? So in short, we need to prepare our data set for use in our machine learning training. So any analytical process sustains on the quality of the data used. Remember, the quality of our inputs decides the quality of our output. Fine. Data can be in any format. It can be CSV file, it can be XML, it can be JSON, etc. After cleaning the data, we need to then convert this data into valid formats that can be fed into the machine learning platform, right? So one need to spend time determining the quality of data and then taking steps for fixing issues such as missing data and treatment of outliers. This is also a good time to do any pertinent visualization of our data to help us see if there are any relevant relationships between different variables we can take advantage of, as well as show if there are any data imbalances. Right? As I said, if the data is not balanced, the model will not be trained properly. So this is the most time consuming stage in machine learning process. I hope these two steps, data collection and data preparation, are clear. Data collection is you collect the data, and data preparation is what you convert the collected data into a form which can be fed into a machine learning algorithm. Right? Now, data preparation also includes splitting of the data, right? So we also need to split the data into two parts. The clean data is split into two parts, train and test, proportion depending on the prerequisites, right? The training data set is used to train the model, and the testing data set is used to validate the trained model's performance. While splitting the data set into training and testing sets, the training and testing data set split range is usually 80-20 or 70-30. Now, using the same data for both data sets can result in a faulty model, right? If you are training your model with the same data and again you are testing with the same data, then there is no difference, right? So training data set and testing data set should always be different. Fine. So once the data set is collected, you make it ready to be fed into a machine learning algorithm. And when you're making it ready, you also split it into two parts, right? A larger portion of the data set you use to train your model, and smaller part you use to check whether your model is trained properly or no, whether it is giving you the right results. Fine. Next step, what you have is to select a proper learning algorithm for your model, right? Now, at this stage, the best performing learning algorithm is researched. It depends upon the type of problem that needs to be solved and the type of data available. What problem you are solving, and related to that particular problem, what type of data is available with you. So these algorithms commonly fall into three categories. You have binary, that is classified into two categories, what we saw, negative and positive feedbacks. Classification, which classify into many categories. Then you have regression, which can predict a numeric value. Now, related to these categories, we have algorithms. Now you have classification algorithm. If the problem is to classify and the data is labeled. You can use regression algorithm if the problem is to perform a regression task and the data is labeled. Remember, in classification and regression, both the algorithms, you have labeled data, right? Now, clustering algorithms, if the problem is to create clusters and the data is unlabeled. I don't know what the data is. At that time, I go for clustering algorithms. But if I already know what my data is and I want to classify that data, then I go for classification algorithm, and even I can go for regression algorithm. This depends, mainly it is based on whether data is labeled or unlabeled. So let us look at machine learning types. So you basically have three machine learning types. You have supervised learning. So here the algorithm is trained on labeled data. In case of supervised learning, under this you have labeled data we saw in the previous slide, classification and regression. So under classification, you have k-nearest neighbor, your naive Bayes, your decision trees, support vector machine, and logistic regression. Under regression, you have algorithms on ensemble methods, linear regression, decision tree. See, decision tree appears in classification as well as regression. It can be used for both. Then you have support vector regression, you have Gaussian progress regression. Fine. These are the few algorithms what are listed on the slide here. Another type of learning under machine learning, you have unsupervised learning. So your algorithm are trained to work on unlabeled data. You don't know what the data is, right? Data is not labeled here. So in this case, we have k-means clustering, we have Gaussian mixture, we have hierarchical clustering, spectral clustering, and boosting. Fine. The third type what we have is reinforcement learning. So it features an algorithm that improves upon itself and learns from new situations using trial and error method. Here, favorable outputs are encouraged, that is reinforced, and non-favorable outputs are discouraged, that is punished. Basically, this learning is based on trial and error. A simple example is in case of automatic cars. Now, the cars which are driven automatically. So when you are parking a car in a particular parking slot, so when the car learns to park a car at a parking slot, it has so many trial and errors, right? So this is nothing but an example of reinforcement learning. Now, when you know these are the methods available under machine learning, now which you should apply when? So let us look at the project we are working on and the models which can be used, right? Models and their applications. So there are various models to be used depending on the data we are going to process, such as images, sound, text, or numerical values. So this table will be, in this table, you can see some models and the applications which you can apply in your projects. Like if your project is based on price prediction, you can always go for logistic regression. If it is classification, then you can go for fully connected networks. If you are working with image processing, then go for convolutional neural networks. If you are working with voice recognition, then recurrent neural networks are the good solution. For fraud detection, you can go for random forest. Then learning by trial and error, as I said just few minutes back, that is reinforcement learning. Your image creation using generative models, segmentation, that in case of unlabeled data, you go for k-means. Recommendation systems, you can go for k nearest neighbors. And from spam and noise filtering, you can go for Bayesian classifiers. Right? In the lecture series, we'll be having a lecture on each of these models along with the application. Fine. I hope the model and the application for which what model should be used is bit clear, right? So till now what we did, we collected the data, we made the data representation ready to be fed into machine learning. We also split the data. And after that, we are selecting a learning algorithm or the machine learning algorithm which can be applied for the data which is ready now for the training. Fine. Now, next is what? Training our model. So the model is trained to improve its ability. Fine. So data set is divided into training and testing data set. Fine. The training data and testing, the training and testing split is in the order of 80-20 or it can be 70-30. It also depends upon the size of the data set, right? What we are having. Usually in case of machine learning, it is always good to have large data set. Training data set is fed to the learning algorithm. The learning algorithm finds a mapping between the input and the output and generates the model, right? Because what it is supposed to do, it is supposed to check, okay, this is the input and this is what is expected output. So what it does a mapping between input and output, and then it comes up with the model, right? The data set connects to an algorithm, right? In short, it connects to an algorithm. Now, in this step, we will use our data to incrementally improve our model's ability to predict accurately, right? So here we'll be using data, a good data to train the model. So the good data will have good model trait. A simple example, if we talk about training in day-to-day life, it's like learning to drive a car. At first, we don't know how the clutch, accelerator, and the brake work, or when and how and in what combination they should be used. However, after lots of practice and correcting for our mistakes, we get a driving license. Moreover, after a year of driving, we get quite acquainted to driving skills. We learn to enhance our driving skills by reacting to a real world situation. So this is what is a training. If you have gone through all types of situations, you become a good driver. You can drive on any road in any situation. Fine. The same concept is here. For training the model, what type of data you are giving, try to give all different types of data so that the training is proper. Now, okay. After training, now next what we need to do is we need to evaluate our model whether the model is trained properly or no, right? So once the training is complete, it's time to check if the model is good. So using evaluation, this is where the data set that we set aside earlier, that means that the 30% or the 20%, because 80% we are used for training and the remaining 20% will be using here now, right? So the model is evaluated to test if the model is any good. Evaluation tests our model against data that has never been used for training. The metrics such as accuracy, precision, recall, etc. are used to test the performance of our model. We check the model's accuracy. If the model does not perform well, the model is rebuilt using different hyperparameters. The accuracy may be further improved by tuning the hyperparameters. If the results are not satisfactory, we need to improve and retrain our machine learning model. Fine. So evaluation is actually checking whether the model what you are trained is working accurately or not. Fine. Now, if it is not working accurately, then what we do? We carry out the parameter tuning. Fine. That is hyperparameters actually. Now, if during the evaluation, we did not obtain good predictions and our precision is not the minimum desired, it is possible that we have overfitting or underfitting problems. And we must return to the training step before making a new configuration of parameters in our model. So what you can do, you can increase the number of times you iterate your training data, which is nothing but the number of epochs, right? Number of times you visit your training data. Another important parameter is the one what we call it as learning rate, which is usually a value that multiplies the gradient to gradually bring it closer to the global or local minimum to minimize the cost of the function. So learning rate defines how far we shift the line during each step based on the information from the previous training step. So at each time you shift the line so that the model learns more better. These values play an important role in how accurate our model can become and how long the training takes. Fine. We can also indicate the maximum error allowed for our model. These parameters are often called hyperparameters, and this tuning is still more of an art than a science, as it will improve when we experiment it. So tuning is more of an experimental process that heavily depends on the specifics of our data set, model, and training process. There are usually many parameters to adjust, and when combined, they can trigger all options. Each algorithm has its own parameters to adjust, right? A simple example in case of artificial neural network, we must define in its architecture the number of hidden layers it will have and gradually test with more or less with how many neurons each layer will have, how many hidden layers it should have. So this will be a work of great effort and patience, which will give the good results, right? That is nothing but adjusting the parameters to get good results from our model. So in short, machine learning is a cycle because after tuning again you check it, right? So machine learning is nothing but it's a cycle, right? It has a start loop and it has an end loop. To start with, you understand the domain, prior knowledge and goals. To talk to domain experts, often the goals are very unclear. We often have more things to try than we can possibly implement, right? Then we start with data integration, selection, cleaning, and pre-processing. So this is the most time-consuming part we know because it's nothing but data representation, right? Preparing data. It is important to have high quality data. The more data we have, the more it becomes tedious to clean the data. Because in short, we have garbage in and garbage out. Then we go for learning models. We know we select a particular learning model once the data is ready. And after learning models, what you do, the learning model is ready, it is trained, and then it is tested. So you get the results. So then you interpret the results. Sometimes it does not matter how the model works as long as it delivers results. But nowadays it is a must because other domains require that the model is understandable. You should understand how the model worked, right? Otherwise, the result will be biased. After you interpret the results, you consolidating and deploying discovered knowledge, whatever knowledge you discovered from your model. The majority of the projects that are successful in the labs are not used in practice, right? It is just constrained or limited to the labs only. They are not used at the society level. So in short, again you go back, again understand the domain and the cycle goes on. So it is not a one-shot process. It's a cycle. You need to run the loop until you get a result that you can use in practice. Also, the data can change requiring overall the new loop. Fine. So machine learning is not a linear process. It is a cyclic process which continues. Fine. I hope the basic steps of machine learning are clear. What we talk about, we started with data collection, we talk about data preparation, then we selected the model, right? And then we trained the model, we evaluated the model, that is we tested the model, fine. And if we are not getting proper results, then we did the tuning of the parameters, right? We adjusted the parameters of the model and again trained it to check whether the model is trained. The whole process is nothing but machine learning cycle. Now let us look at some applications of machine learning, right? So machine learning we are using in our daily life even without knowing it, such as Google Maps, Google Assistant, Alexa, etc. Right? So machine learning algorithms are solutions which are versatile and can be used as substitute for medium skilled human labor. Remember, giving the right circumstances. A simple example is the chatbots. Most of the websites you visit nowadays, you have already chatbots appearing, which can interact with you like human beings. So again, replacing a human being with a machine, right? Even in case of commercial websites, instead of sales representatives, nowadays you have chatbots which are available on the sites which can speak to the customers. Now, some of the applications here, you can see the language translation, right? So any new place we visit, we are not aware of the language, then it is not a problem at all now. Why? Because machine learning can help us in converting the text into the language what we know. Even traffic predictions, when we are using Google Map, it shows us the direction as well as it shows us the color on the road showing how the traffic, whether there's lots of traffic or there's average traffic or there's no traffic. Fine. Even speech recognition. Nowadays, anything you want to search on the Google, you can even say the advertisement what comes in the TV. Like you don't need to read it, you just say. So it will recognize your speech and it will search for you and it will give you. In case of image recognition, right? How do we get the suggestions for tagging your friends on the Facebook? This is nothing but image recognition where machine learning comes into the picture. Even medical diagnosis and medical services, even in case of medical diagnosis, you get the 3D models ready, right? You can see, you can predict, okay, where the blockage may be in case of heart disease. Even in case of medical service, we can even find out the waiting time, how it can be reduced for the patients outside the ICU. Fine, if the hospital is too big. Even you have email spam and malware filtering. Your virtual personal assistant, as we talked about Alexa and Siri, right? Your social media features, stock market trading, online fraud detection, product recommendation. There are lots of applications which are there in case of machine learning. It's a beautiful world of machine learning, which I'm sure you all will enjoy as we go ahead. I hope the basic concept of machine learning is clear. What we are doing, we collect the data, right? We make it ready for them to be fed into the machine learning algorithm. Algorithm learns from the data because when you're giving the data, we sometimes also give what is expected as an output. That is supervised learning. But we just give the data and we don't give what is expected as output, then it is unsupervised learning, where usually we go for clustering, right? And sometimes we just want machine to learn its own by trial and error. then it is reinforcement learning. Fine. I hope the basic concepts are clear. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.